Good evening and happy New Year's Eve. I'm Taylor Braat, and thank you for joining us for this special New Year's Eve edition of City News. But there has been some really amazing news when it comes to the Oilers and the Flames meeting up in the new year. So Bianca, what do you know so far about this new announcement? We've got a few friends with us now. I have Raya here with me. What is your New Year's resolution for 2023?
I think
We're here by the Bow River, where the city says it was expected to reach its peak this afternoon, and you can see that water levels have risen significantly. Good evening, I'm Taylor Braat. I'm here at Olympic Plaza, where behind me people are beginning to gather for those affected by the tragedy which happened in Saskatchewan last weekend. It's all for a vigil. Now police have that intersection at 52nd Street and McIver Boulevard blocked off as they continue to investigate the cause of the crash, and we'll have more details on that tonight at 11. Meanwhile, it's a Thanksgiving like no other as cases rise across the country. Hundreds of cancellations so far this week, and airlines say there will be more. WestJet is offering full refunds to people who proactively cancel their flights. It was not expected, but Jason Kenney has announced he will resign as the UCP's leader and as Premier of Alberta. Do you see this as something that was distracting from City Council's goals this year? What is the feeling in police stations as they see these numbers trend up and also as police respond to these incidents? What has it been like for you and your party to work with the UCP this past year, who has undergone so many changes? Queen Elizabeth was the most traveled monarch in history, visiting Canada on more than 22 different occasions. Her last trip to this country was in 2010, and for many Canadians, she's the only monarch we have ever known. 2021 was a tough year for many, but our leaders are looking forward to a fresh start in 2022. A vigil to honor missing and murdered Indigenous women and girls. People here are calling for the change it takes to end this ongoing and devastating issue.
I heard in November that there was a lone pelican again.
Birdwatchers are always on the lookout for a rare sighting, and one Calgary photographer has spotted an unusual bird with a very unique story. These vibrant, meaningful works of art are part of Pride Marches On and were unveiled Friday to bring the city into the spirit of pride. You can still see tracks going through the snow here, and a memorial has been set up to commemorate the officer's life. This Caesar won't cure your hangover, but it will get you pretty drunk. 4,752 shots of vodka and 318 of these. We tried speaking with the homeowners, but despite seeing one of them was home, there was no answer.
Duck.
Annette says colonization took culture and language away from Indigenous people, but to preserve them means she's helping to take it back.
We were dehumanized.
So far, they've been able to gather things like food, hygiene, cleaning supplies, and socks, but they're hoping to fill this entire truck before it heads to Merritt, BC. Every year around this time, thoughts are turned to the past. As poppies begin to circulate, it's a reminder to remember. But for some, no reminder is needed. The city says some of this community of people here living in tents is going to be relocated because they're blocking access to emergency vehicles. But advocates say the real problem is that this community is growing, not where it's located.
Community looks at us like we're just homeless bums and all that, but no, we're all humans just trying to survive.
Preston lives in a tent here, and his friend Brandon was kicked out of the drop-in center, but is able to stay with him.
You could have an argument with a staff member and then they'll send you outside.
The ceremony was initially to be held at the permanent memorial in Victoria Park, but was moved here to City Hall's atrium due to the extreme cold we're experiencing. But it's not lost on the people here that there are still people experiencing homelessness, suffering in the cold right now. Dale Cena has worked in the disability sector for 16 years. He's stayed this long because he has a passion for this work.
Get together and we make different kinds of food.
But he says those in his field feel the industry would collapse if it weren't for that passion, because since 2014, wages have essentially stayed the same. These signs hung up in Calgary's inner city businesses tell one story of the area. the story of discrimination and a negative perception of the rise in social disorder. For Adele, it's all still sinking in.
I still cannot believe it.
3, 2, 1. Happy New Year! In Calgary, Taylor Braat, City News.